Hey, how you doing? This is Coach Carvel Bailey. I'm standing outside right now in the sunshine. Here in Chicago, we finally got some sun. So I'm out early in the morning taking in some good vitamin D. But listen, for this video, I want to talk about two things that I saw a couple days ago watching some basketball. Two things that I saw, and I can only ask, who taught you this? Players doing this in the month of June with their teams. Here in Illinois, June, the AAU stops because the state allows for the coaches to literally practice with their team for the entire month of June. I think that's great to enhance the development, work on the development, get team chemistry together, start to build the culture. Preseason is like very instrumental in developing what's necessary going forward for the rest of the year. But anyway, I want to give you these two things that I saw, and hopefully I can help you with it. So the first thing is that players are jumping to pass the ball. Players are jumping to pass the ball, and that's what actually, yeah. We're going to stay with that first because that's the biggest thing. Players jumping to pass the ball. Jumping to pass the ball puts you in a peculiar situation because now when you jump to pass the ball, if the defense gets to you before you find the actual open person and you come down with the ball, it's a violation. And so the violation leads to a turnover. So it's not good from that perspective. Another reason why you don't necessarily always want to jump, why you don't want to jump past the ball at all, is because you're putting yourself in jeopardy of getting injured. You're putting yourself in jeopardy of getting injured because when you're jumping, now if you're jumping with the intention to pass it, you know, you're jumping, want to fake the defense out, but you know you're going to pass it. Well, now you're focusing on where you're going to distribute the ball and not really focusing on per se the defense. And you can, let's say, come down and roll your ankle, come down the wrong way, come down and injure yourself, or come down and hurt yourself because you jumped to pass the ball and you were so focused on the target, you didn't pay attention to how you land, where you land, what was around you. And so that can put you in a situation in which you can, you know, hurt or injure yourself. So you don't want to do that. And then lastly, the reason why you really don't want to jump to pass the ball is you can fake your teammates out. You can literally fake your teammates out because they think that you're going for a shot, a jump shot. When I grew up, it was always the jump shot, the fake jump shot pass, because everybody else is looking up. But those type of things were worked on, and or with eye contact between those two individuals, like it's coming, but everybody else don't know. That's why I jump to shoot, everybody look up, and then they drop that pass down. But now players are just jumping up to make any type of pass, and you're putting yourself in a peculiar situation, uncompromising situation, whatever it is that you want to call it. So only thing that I could think of was who taught you that. If you're playing with your school, playing with your team, this is time for development. So part of that development is knowing not to be jumping when you're making a pass. The second thing that I noticed is players are making one-hand passes. Now, when I grew up, I can tell you honestly, I was a huge Magic Johnson fan. I love Michael Jordan, but if anybody asks me, Magic Johnson is my favorite player of all time just because of what he could do with the basketball at his height at that time. Now, Michael Jordan obviously is my favorite player, but nevertheless, making that one-hand pass. Magic Johnson used to always do it, but Magic Johnson had hands similar to what we know of Kawhi Leonard with his hands now. So kind of the same way with Michael Jordan. Phil Jackson once said the biggest difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is Michael's hands. And so Michael could do things with the ball that Kobe couldn't because his hands were so big. So those guys could make those one-hand passes. When you're dealing with grammar school kids, high school kids, college kids, or let me say athletes, grammar school athletes, high school athletes, college athletes, it's difficult for them to be able to make that one-hand pass, because once you make that one-hand pass or attempt to make it and the defense sees where you're going, you can't pull that ball back. So once it leaves, once you pushes it, it's gone. And then that can result in a turnover. So those were the two things that I saw a couple days ago going to watch high school basketball. So what I would say in terms, because I always want to give you some solutions to these problems. So with making a one-hand pass, okay, you want to make sure that you control the ball with two hands. And then you can lead the ball with one hand if you have to make like a split second pass. If you have to make a split second pass, then you want to be able to grab the ball with two hands and then be able to flick it, or, you know, throw it leading with the one hand if you have enough time. But if you know how to make the correct pass, it's not always about making the pass. It's about making the correct pass. Knowing what type of pass to make on a fast break to your teammate that's in front of you on the opposite side of the court. Knowing what type of pass to make to get there. So instead of making that one-hand pass, you may just have to make a different type of two-hand pass so it can be more effective. Sometimes that's an overhead pass. Sometimes it's a chest pass. Sometimes it's a bounce pass. Sometimes it's a flip pass. The second solution, back to our first problem, jumping to pass the ball. I recommend personally that you don't jump to pass the ball. If you jump to pass the ball, you want to make sure of your surroundings. Now, this has come up because we've seen in the NBA game, and then it's trickled down to the college as well as the high school and down to the lower youth levels, is when a player drives baseline and they jump to pass the ball to the other corner. Well, like, again, that's development that's worked on. That's a drill that's worked on. And the reason that you jump for that pass is because you're literally jumping out of bounds to pass the ball back in bounds on the other side of the court. And so to me, that's safe because you're jumping out of bounds, so you know what's right there, unless they're cheerleaders. Then you want to, you know, be aware of what's behind the backboard as well. But I recommend that you don't jump the pass. Again, going back to the making the pass with one hand, it's the same thing for jumping to pass. You want to make sure that you're making the correct pass to the correct person at the correct time. Then you won't have to jump. Because at some point before you jump, or you jump because they were open and you felt as though you can get the pass to them. But if you are aware of the type of pass to get them when they're open, you won't have to jump to pass. I hope that makes sense. So listen, again, this video was a little longer than I expected. But again, with this sun outside, yesterday was 54. 54. Now today it's about 75. So I'm enjoying it. But listen, I hope you got some value from this. Share this video with somebody that you know that can be a better passer, can be a better basketball player once they learn to be a better passer. So if they pass the ball with one hand or jump to pass the ball and there's getting turnover after turnover, or if you just want to help them with more information, share this video with them. Okay, feel free to go check out my YouTube channel at Coach Carvel Bailey, Facebook at Coach Carvel Bailey, as well as Instagram for more videos like this. Like, subscribe, and then share the information. Sharing is caring. If this helps you, let's help somebody else. All right, let's make basketball better. Coach Carvel Bailey,